welcome to my channel. Today I am sore. I am feeling very sore and old and broken, and I am going to do my warm-up that I specifically do whenever I feel that way, which is just about getting some movement in your body and getting to a place where you can really start to move in a more extreme way without hurting yourself because you're forcing anything. We're going to do a lot of very fluid movements, a lot of more sort of continuous. Does this explain it? This explains it, right? This is the warm-up. That is not the warm-up. Hopefully after this you should feel nice and warm and prepared to go on to whatever you're doing next. If you are stretching and you want to build some flexibility, I have stretching videos on my channel. I also have conditioning videos if you want to build some strength after this. And of course I have lots and lots of aerial tutorials if you are going into the air after this. Make sure that you are in a nice warm room and that you are wearing enough clothing that your body feels warm and cozy. This is also a great cool down if you have already done your workout, which is a great idea. Cooling down is a very underrated process. And I wish I'd done it more this week because maybe I wouldn't be so damn sore. Anyway, let's get started. Just follow along and here we go. So you're gonna start out standing up. I'm gonna put my feet nice and wide apart. And then I'm going to reach up as tall, as high as I can. I'm going to clasp my hands together, and I'm going to arch my back and slowly go side to side. I'm arching my arms really far back behind me, and I'm also letting my hips come behind me as well. If I do it from the side, it's just this movement. I'm arching my back, I'm going side to side, and I'm just feeling my torso start to move and warm up. You can also go in a full circle all the way around, a couple of times on each side. You can bend your knees if that feels good. This is just about getting your body to start moving, which is sometimes the hardest part. And then when you're ready, you can start going side to side. So I'm going to reach over to the side. This time I do have two straight legs. And I'm feeling the stretch in the side of my body. And because I'm feeling sore, I'm going to put my hand on the side of my leg and use that arm to help support myself so I'm not putting too much strain on my back right away. And one more time. Really feeling the stretch in your sides. This whole side of your body should feel a really nice stretch. And when you're ready, you can open your chest up to the sky and then close it back down to the ground. And open it up and close it. This will start to open up your shoulders, open up your chest, feeling the stretch in your back a little bit more. And then you can go the other way as well. 2 or 3 times on each side, just to start to get that movement happening. And now I'm going to do a big roll all the way around with my head and my shoulders. So I'm letting each shoulder come forward and then back and then forward and then back. And I reverse it. Really hit every side of your circle. So all the way to the side, all the way slouched over the front, all the way over to the side, and all the way back, just a high arch of your back. Then I'm going to finish with my hands on the ground. I'm going to rock my hips side to side just a little bit. I have nice straight knees, so really make sure that your knees are straight so you're getting your hamstrings to warm up a little bit. So that's really one of the nicest things about this little warm up. And you're also starting to have some movement in your hip sockets right here. So that's going to be great for middle split, for anything where you're using the hip flexibility. And then I'm going to just plie and stretch. Bend your knees as far down as you can go. Don't force it. This is just about getting some movement happening in your hip sockets, in your lower back. I would do maybe 5 or 6 of these, but just keep going until you start to really feel like it's getting easier and your body's getting warmer. I'm going to finish that up. I'm going to tip my head all the way down. I can't see you guys anymore. I'll turn this way. And I'm just going to rock side to side. Have my head between my hands. I'm letting my whole upper body relax. as I swing side to side with straight knees. So, from the front, it looks like this. I'm relaxing my back, I'm letting it swing, I'm letting my neck and my head and my shoulders all relax. And I'm just feeling the stretch in my hamstrings as I go one hamstring to the other. Then you can continue that by moving your hips side to side with bent knees. So I'm just bending one knee, taking my hips that direction, bending the other knee, taking my hips that direction. And you guys can probably hear my joints starting to crackle. Feeling the rotation, this is letting my hips rotate just a little bit more. So that's just a slightly different flexibility that's starting to warm up there. And then finally, I'm gonna reach between my legs. So I am reaching back as far as I can, just trying to see how far back I can reach and bring my shoulders down towards my legs. And that's a nice one. From there, I'm gonna roll up my back all the way up and think about stacking each individual vertebrae in your spine. Every time I roll up, I'm going from this nice slumped over position to restack each individual vertebrae in my spinal column in a nice tall tower until I come all the way up. So moving on to another back warm up. Keep that stacking of your vertebrae in mind while we do this one, because you're really going to gain a lot of movement, because you're just going to melt down, bend your knees, bring your elbows down to your knees, and then roll it back up. I like to clasp my hands together, but you can also do it with your hands open, just however you feel. So each time I melt down, I'm really arching back, leaving my head until last as I come down, and then I raise my hips and I roll it up. Arch back, leave your head up as you come down, and then articulate through your spine as you roll it back up. I do a few more of these. You can even speed them up. Speeding them up a little bit faster is going to get you a little bit more warm more quickly, which is great. And I'm going to leave my hands down. I'm going to come into a downward dog. I'm just going to walk out my heels, and each time I walk my heels, I'm thinking about pushing that heel into the ground, and then the other foot that's coming up under the toes, I'm pushing those toes. So I'm warming up both my toes and my heels and my ankles, and also my calves and Achilles tendons. Then I'm going to step my feet slightly farther back. I'm going to go plank, hands hips up, plank, and hips up. This is a great shoulder warm up because you're really pushing with your shoulders and using all the muscles in your shoulder girdle. So that is a really nice warm up. And I'm going to walk it in back to my parallel with my feet just about hip width apart. And I'm going to clasp my hands behind my back and take them over as far as possible. So I'm really letting my hands fall behind me. You're going to bend one knee and flex the other toes up off the ground. And then switch. Keep switching. Just feeling your body change position slightly. Feeling the stretches in the back of your legs, in your shoulders, and in your lower back. And I'm going to roll it up. I'm going to keep that roll going and do a couple of extra big circles with my arms so that I can continue to stretch out my shoulders and get mobility happening in my shoulders. I like to have flexed hands. You can see I'm really pushing through my hands because the more flexed the palms of my hands are, the more I feel this all throughout my whole arm. While we're doing arms, let's go ahead and do some wrist warm-ups. I'm just clasping my hands together and I'm going to roll them one way and then the other. I'm doing like a figure eight motion. So I'm just going to keep going with that figure eight as fast as you can. It's a nice fun little game to see how fast you can go. Really build up the heat in those joints. And then after I start to feel that heat building up, I'm gonna circle my hands one way and then the other. So just think about going one way and then the other. And then finally, I'm going to pull my fingers back with a nice straight arm, just as far back until you feel stretched. So if your hand only goes to there, that's totally fine. I'm just pulling mine back because I'm just really hypermobile in my fingers. And I'm going to keep that hip warm up going by just rocking side to side. So while I'm doing my arms and my hands and my fingers, I like to really keep going with the hips because it just gets you warmed up faster. So that's always a nice plus. And now that I'm a little bit warmer in my hips, I'm going to come down into a grand plie in second. So I've got my knees turned out to the side, however much you can. Don't push trying to go flat side. Sometimes your knees can be a little bit in front of you, and that's fine. But then I'm just going to rock side to side while I push my knees even more open with my elbows and strengthen my arms. So just rock side to side. You're lifting up one heel and then the other. So I'm lifting up that heel, lifting up that heel. So it's a nice little balance exercise as well. And now if you want to take this even more extreme, you can do one leg and then the other leg straight. So I'm using my hands to help support myself as I just walk side to side like a weird crab and continue to go side to side. I really like the people who think that like aerial is about being like sexy and graceful, and then most of the time I'm just like on the side of the studio doing this. A crab that's got some motor control issues, a drunk crab. That is me. And I'm going to walk my feet back in, heel toe, heel toe, heel toe. And I'm going to do a nice little hamstring stretch. One side, I'm just putting my foot right between my two hands. So make sure that your hips are, speaking of drunk crab, facing forward. And you leave your hips facing forward as you just go down and put your hands on either side of your foot. If this feels easy, you can flex your toes up. You can try turning your foot out and in. Or you can try bending your back leg and straightening. That's a great way to continue to build up warmth. So the more movement you can add into all these things, the more warmth you're going to build up. And that's what we're really going for, is warmth more than a stretch. And then I'm going to switch legs, flex it up. Also try to keep your back as flat as possible while you're doing this. That's going to give you more of a stretch in your hamstrings. And then I'm going to bend and straight and bend and straight and bend and straight. Keep it going. Now that you have a little bit of warmth in your body, let's finish up with a few warm-ups on the floor. I like to start with this one on the floor where I use my hands on my knees to move my knees in a big circle, opening them up and then closing them. And then I can also reverse that, going the opposite direction. Then I'm going to put my feet flat on the ground. I have my knees apart. I have my feet a little ways away from my bum. And I'm just going to go to one side and then the other. Rock your knees side to side, and your hips will come with them a little bit. And you can start to feel a nice stretch and warm up like that. And then the third biggest version of this little stretch is to go straight leg and straight leg. Don't have room for straight legs, but you get the idea. Straight leg and straight leg. One more time. And live your best contemporary dance life. I feel like such a grungy contemporary floor work kind of dancer while I'm doing this stretch, which I very much am not. I have not got those skills. And then I'm going to open my knees and close my knees. Open and close. You can do this 4, 5, or 6 times just to start to open up those hip sockets and really feel the warmth inside there. If you want a slightly more extreme version of that, you can open your legs straight and lift them up. This is a great inner thigh exercise, but I will warn you now that if you do this for more than about 5 times, your inner thighs are going to be so sore, like in a good way, because you're exercising and strengthening them. But this makes my inner thighs sore like none other. Another little extra back stretch. You can put your hands by your hips and then push with your arms to bring your toes back over your head. Try to touch the ground behind you if you can, but if not, leave them up here, that's okay. Just feeling that back stretch. And if your toes are on the ground, you can also walk out your feet here, bending one knee and then the other, and then slowly, 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 with control, roll down. The whole time, make sure there is no weight on your neck. So you're having your weight on the backs of your shoulders, not on your neck and your head. To finish up, speaking of your neck and your head, let's do a headstand. If you don't know your headstand, I already have a video on my channel of how to do headstands and all kinds of variations, from absolute beginner to variations for choreography and ways to make it look fancy. If you are new to headstands, check out that video. And if you are not, follow along with me as we just do a little lift up your hips. We're gonna hold it. I like to count to at least 10, but also more like 30 seconds to a minute if I have the time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Lower down with control. And just doing that is really going to warm you up. Headstands are the best warm-up secret ever. So now you should be feeling hopefully nice and warm and mobile and ready to go on to whatever you're doing next. If you are looking for more of a traditional increase your flexibility kind of stretch, then that is on my channel as well. I've got several videos for that, so check them out. And while you're there, subscribe. I do videos every Wednesday and Saturday. Wednesdays is tutorial day. Saturday is wider subject day. If you have a request, leave it in the comments for me or message me on my Instagram or whatever. I read all my messages and all my comments. What do you guys want to know? What do you want to know about, I don't know, being a professional being a professional aerialist, or learning how to speak English apparently? Let me know and I'll do a video for you. I hope you guys feel nice and warm, have a great rest of your day, whatever it is you're doing, and I will see you next time.